Well, hello everybody, it's Joel, and today my goal is to help answer a question that a lot of people, maybe even you have, and that is it safe to ship a snake? And the short answer is yes, but I'm going to go into more detail and hopefully help you feel more comfortable with at least understanding the process, whether you choose to have an animal shipped or not. The reality of it is it's always less risk if you come and pick up a snake in person. But I have customers from all over the U.S. I actually just last week shipped snakes to California and Washington State. So coming to pick up those animals obviously is not a good option. And I'm happy to report that all the snakes got to their destinations happy and healthy and are fitting right into their new homes. So to help put your mind at ease, I thought I'd take a look at how I ship snakes. And I'm going to talk to you through the thought process. What is it that we as breeders look at to try and determine whether it is safe to ship an animal or not? Ball pythons are pretty hardy species, but they do have some requirements and some guidelines that must be followed to make sure their travel is as safe as possible. And you can look up online temperature guidelines and things like that that are recommended. But I thought I'd show you today, particularly because I am shipping a snake under cold weather conditions today. Now, warm weather conditions are exactly the same process. The only difference is I don't use a heat pack, and I might use a little bit smaller box when a heat pack is not needed. Heat packs warm up a lot, and so they're only safe for the snake when temperatures are below 70 for daytime highs. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter what the temperature is where you are, the ultimate destination. It also matters, well, it does matter, but it also matters what my temperatures are, right? So I have to look at what is the temperature here, what is the temperature at the hub through which the snake will pass, and what is the temperature going to be at the ultimate destination. All those things need to be within a compatible range for me to ship a snake safely. So I talk about that range because sometimes I've had people not understand why I could not ship a snake or why I would not ship a snake at a particular time. So the best example I can give you of this is I live in the Southeast in South Carolina, and it stays pretty warm here. We have this weird climate where today we got up and it was in the 40s. Monday it was in the mid 80s. And this happens all the time where we may have a little cold spell and then the next week it's back into 80, 90 degrees. And so things fluctuate. But since I ship to a lot of climates that are colder than mine, for example, today this one's going to West Virginia, but they're up a little more in the mountains, so it tends to be colder. I've had some across the country. I've even shipped one to Alaska one time, and that's a big difference in climate. So if the daytime high temperatures here exceeds 70 degrees, it is not safe for me to put that animal in a box with a heat pack. Okay. I also want to mention that we use specific heat packs designed for long, slow release of temperature. They last a lot longer and they don't get as hot. I only use 72-hour heat packs because they do not peak at nearly as high a temperature as the 40s. That's not to say it's wrong to use 40s. It's just my preference because I feel like it's a better option for the snake's ultimate safety, particularly if there's a delay of any type. The heat pack is going to stay warm longer, but it also doesn't peak. A 40-hour heat pack may peak at 140 degrees, whereas a 72-hour only gets out to about 115. So that's a pretty big difference once you're in an insulated box, and if that animal goes into a climate-controlled area, that heat matters very quickly. So I have to look at the temperature here. If it's too warm here for me to use a heat pack to ship that animal safely, but its destination is too cold for me to safely ship the snake without a heat pack, I just can't ship it. We have to wait for better weather. And so I have to think about that. I also have to think about Memphis, Tennessee, because that is the hub through which pretty much every snake that I ship goes through. And I have to take those temperatures into account as well, because most hubs where that animal will be stored overnight, whether it's temporarily on a truck or it's just waiting to go in an air container to get on the aircraft, those are not climate-controlled buildings. I worked for UPS for 6 years. I know very well how the climates adjust in those buildings, and so you have to account for all of that. Hopefully that helps you understand why sometimes a breeder wants to hold on to a package and not ship it right away. The other thing that comes into play there is holidays, natural disasters like we've just had, and of course any other type of special. So for example, Amazon Prime Days just happened last week. Right after Prime Day is not a good time to ship animals. Why? Because FedEx and UPS have so much higher volume during these big sale times that the chances of a delay and therefore the higher risk to the animal increases greatly. So as a general rule, me personally, I do not ship the Monday after a holiday ever, and I try not to ship within a day or two after that as well, just depending, especially if it's something like Black Friday where online shopping volume just skyrockets, which means FedEx is overrun with packages and the chance of something getting lost, mishandled, or delayed is much, much higher, and it's not worth the risk to the animal. It's better just to wait. That's also why at the middle point of December, usually past the first full week of December, shipping ends completely. All that is always subject to weather, as we just discussed, but that will stop completely. So those are a couple of reasons why I might not ship an animal right away. And most of the time, you guys are great. Customers understand that and the desire to keep the animal safe and are agreeable. But every now and then we get some pushback, and you should know that that's the reason why. I will say this too, because I had this asked recently. Someone asked if I could ship it out on a Thursday to be delivered on Friday. I will never ship an animal on Thursday. I ship Monday through Wednesday only. Tuesday and Wednesday are a little bit safer bet, but I've never had an issue on Monday. The reason we don't ship on Thursday is because if there were any type of delay, that means that snake is going to spend the entire weekend in a hub if it's not deliverable on a Friday, whether that's somebody's not available at the time it's delivered, or it just gets misplaced and it doesn't make it to its destination on time. Now it has to sit in the hub all weekend. And yes, there's a chance, especially with a longer heat pack in a cold environment, that that animal could survive, but it's just not worth the risk. Now, let me move forward a little bit and show you how I pack up the snakes and kind of all the elements that are involved. And be sure if you have any questions, put them in the comments down below and I'll do my best to answer. So let's take a look at packing up the animal. All right, so I can't see what I'm looking at, so hopefully everything is visible to you here. But here's my whole setup, and I know this is crazy. I'm trying to get everything out. What I like to do is set all my stuff out before I call to schedule the pickup and make sure everything's good. Because we are using a heat pack for this shipment, I'm going to go ahead and prep that and get it ready. We want to give it a couple hours of exposure to oxygen and allow it to heat up so that it'll pass that peak before we put it in with the animal. This red line always faces out, and you want to make sure you don't cover that with tape. I will tape it to the insulation to go inside the tub later. Right now I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it up in this towel because that helps keep the heat in and get it going like it's supposed to. I'll pick that up in a second. Now, the minimum box size for using heat is 12 by 9 by 6. This is my preferred size, although this year, due to the rising costs of shipping, I've been shipping during warm weather with smaller boxes to help save customers and myself in those shipping costs and packing costs, because every label we buy is pretty expensive, but this all goes into it as well. There are a lot of aspects that go into it beyond just the shipping cost. So we've got our insulated box. This is all 3/4 inch insulation. And with this box, you got different pieces. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. But we just set these up and make a nice little cage for the box with this insulation. And kind of squeaky, sounds bad. We'll get in there. And then you can see like this. This serves two purposes. One is obviously it provides insulation for the animal, but it also gives structure and rigidity to the box to make it safer. Now, typically what I use as a packing material is just crinkle cut paper, but I had some of these come in another package, so I'm actually going to use this in the bottom of my my box here today to give it a little more padding without using as much of the crinkle cut paper, just because I got it for free in another package, and why not use it rather than increasing costs in other places. But this is a nice good padding, and it'll probably help with the insulation a little bit too. So we'll get some of this paper in here, and then we will take a look. Now, once I've got it to this point, I'm ready to add the snake. Once this is warmed up, I'm not going to add the snake right now because I don't have her packed up, but I will take her. I'll put her in one of these bags. I like it to be relatively tight if possible. Once she's in the bag, I've got some paper towels in the bottom in case she decides to do some business in transit. And then I will seal it with a zip tie just to make sure that she cannot crawl out mid-flight. She'll go in here. We'll use more of the paper to create a nest around her. Finally, last step once she's in is to tape our heat pack to this lid. Turn it down so again that red stripe is facing down. And then we've got a nice tight insulated box to keep her warm throughout her travel. Finally, I'm going to put in some stickers and some business cards, and attached to the bag, I'll actually zip tie one of my mighty fine 7th level Reptiles candling flashlights there. Running out of those, but they'll go to people until I run out. And that's it. Tape it up, slap on your FedEx shipping label. I'm not going to show this obviously because it's got customer information on it. That adheres to the side. And one thing I didn't grab already is my Lacey Act label. The Lacey Act says all animals being shipped must be identified, so this allows me to identify the type and quantity of the species I am shipping. All right, well, hopefully you got a pretty good view of all that and it wasn't too weird. I couldn't really see what I'm doing, but here we go, our nice little package. And again, once she's in there, I will put her to one side, and then I will shove all this crinkle paper around her and above her to keep her nice and tight. She'll have padding on all sides, but I'll get her as far to one side as I can, and the heat pack will be on the other side so that it's not direct heat. But that will keep the environment warm enough for her to keep her happy and safe without putting her in danger. And then ship it up or wrap it up. I'll put one of my stickers on the outside of the box just for fun. Which actually is pretty cool. Last week, my FedEx guy, last week or the week before, I can't remember. My FedEx guy picked up one of my packages and was just chatting with him real briefly, and he pointed to my sticker on it, and he's like, man, my boss saw the sticker last week and said, hey, I know that guy. I buy my snakes from him. So that was pretty cool to get that. I've had some great FedEx people that come and pick up and take great care of my animals. Hopefully, one day they'll get to pick one up for you. I thank you for all your support. I think that's about it. I'll probably come back in here at the end when it's actually time to pack her up, and I'll show you that without all the talking because I know I run my yapper too much. And then we'll send it off with FedEx, and she'll be at her home tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy. I'll go ahead and tell you now to please tell you to now. That was weird. I'll go ahead and tell you now to please share the love of reptiles with anybody you can, and I'll see you guys next time.